Hello everyone, this video is about the ABC hypothesis, which is a model about how the development of flowers are affected by different classes of genes. So this model is called the ABC hypothesis, but as you can see here, my diagram goes up to E, and this is because this is an expanded model, which includes gene classes up to E. I'll explain what all of these do later. So firstly, what are these different genes? These are called homeotic genes. And homeotic genes affect the development of anatomical structures in a lot of different organisms. This includes plants, but this also includes animals. So you have this, I have this, and yeah, you share this in common with your potted plant that you might have in your house. Um, and basically what this can do is, at least in humans, it can control things like fingers, toes, while in plants it can control things like flowers, or leaves, or petals. And note, this is just the general class of homeotic genes. These specific genes that we will talk about control something specific. So the greater area is going to be homeotic genes, and this is just a smaller subset of these homeotic genes. What these gene classes are, A, B, C, D, and E, are called floral organ identity genes, or Mads-Box genes, MADS. And what these do is they control the determinate growth of the flower. What determinate growth is a growth that has a general stopping point. So a flower won't continue to grow forever if it has enough nutrients. It'll stop at a certain point. And indeterminate growth can be like how tall a tree grows, which, if you had the right environment, it can grow as long as it wants. But no, this one just stops once it reaches a certain point. And these floral organ identity genes control different parts of the flower. So if you can see here, I've divided these groups of genes into 5 different categories: sepals, petals, stamens, carpels, and ovules, which these arrows point out to. Now I won't really describe what each part of the flower does, that's a topic for another time. But for reference, these arrows should tell you about where each of these control. So the genes that are located underneath these titles, for example, for sepals, A and E, are the classes of genes that are necessary to develop that part of the flower. What this means is if genes A and E, gene classes A and E, sorry, are expressed in an organism, in a flower, then sepals will develop, and those are these green things at the bottom of this flower. If either one of these is not expressed, then sepals will not develop, and you will get a flower with no sepals. It's the same thing with petals, except with gene classes A, B, and E, stamens with gene classes B, C, and E, carpels with gene classes C and E, and ovules with gene classes C, D, and E. If you can see from this diagram, it sort of boxes everything out very well. Whatever boxes are in the quadrant with that anatomical part of a flower in it, then those are the genes that need to be expressed in order for that part of the flower to appear. If you have A, B, and E present, but C is not present, do you think that petals will form or not? Well, the answer is yes, they will, because C is not necessary for petals to form. Whatever shows up on these boxes are the genes required for that specific part to form, and nothing else out of these groups of genes is required. There are, of course, other genes that are probably necessary for the general development and growth of a flower. Like, if you think of humans, if you have some sort of gene that causes you to die early, some things just won't form in general. These just are the ones that control flower organ identity. And anyway, that's a wrap. So I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.